friends, Erika.tesla here. If you are new, thank you so much for deciding to click on this video and check my channel out. And if you are returning, thank you so much for deciding to come back. I'm so happy to have you here today. I recently did a poll on the community tab asking you guys what kind of video you wanted to see next. And the choice that went out was a palette ranking video. It was like a palette slash product video, but I thought it would be cool to go ahead and share with you guys the top palettes that, or the main palettes that I used in the months of January and February. I didn't feel that I had quite enough palettes for 1 month, so I am actually consolidating. This year I have tried to make an effort to really cut back and just kind of calm down on the number of palettes that I am purchasing, because realistically there are but so many that I have the opportunity to really use and enjoy and get a feel for what I think about them. And I am slowly shedding the collector persona that I've had for a while when it comes to makeup. If you haven't before seen the palette collection video that I have, I will link that for you guys so you can see what I'm talking about. I have a pretty nice size palette collection. And so I'm in this phase where I'm really trying to just focus on things that I really enjoy and think will be interesting to me. And it's actually not that easy, guys, because there are so many good releases that have come out. Odin's Eye has come out with part 2 of their legendary Diversa collection. Gourmand Girls just recently did their collab with Steph's Beauty Stash. Nomad's about to come out with another palette. So there's a lot of temptation to resist because they are all wonderful palettes, but I'm trying to just be in a space where there are other ways that I can support brands and creators that I really like. And so I might end up procuring some of the things that are on my wish list. But that being said, let's go ahead and talk about what I did try. And so with this video, it's semi-ranking, I guess you could say. It's more so categories because there are quite a few palettes, or there are palettes in this video that I liked about the same, but the use may have varied. So there's some palettes that I had a chance to use more than others, but generally I was pretty happy with the quality of the palettes that I picked up. And I think that that's an outcome of being a little bit more selective of what I'm actually purchasing. So let's go ahead and talk about these palettes because this intro is already long enough. I'm going to start at sort of the bottom, guys, with the Natasha Denona Hyper Natural Face Palette. I got this at the end of February, so it's kind of scraping in there a little bit, but I'm going to tell you why this is at the bottom for me. It's not because I think the quality is necessarily bad, but I really wish that Natasha had gone ahead and made another bronzer or 2 or even 3, honestly, that you could pop out of this palette, because usually her palettes are magnetic, and I'm kind of surprised that she crammed all 3 shades into this one pan. That was kind of, I think, a negative for me. Not kind of, it was a negative for me, but the rest of the colors actually are fine. I think that this is a good palette for just very subdued, simple, everyday makeup. I've grabbed this a few times since I've had it to just, you know, get me through the day, run out the door, and I've had pretty good luck with the looks. The blush is very nice, but this bronzer just really isn't it. I wish that she had considered with her team a little bit more what universal actually means to more people. Anyway, good quality, but very limited on the color range. The next palette I'm going to talk about actually is amazing quality. It's just that I really have not had a chance to use this one. This is the Insley Rain Cold Moon palette. I've had a chance to do exactly 1 look with this, guys. It's not at the bottom by any means, and I think that its place in a ranking video is definitely going to move up. But I picked this up because I've really been enjoying, and I'm going to scoot over a little bit, I've been enjoying the cool tones And I came to a realization at the end of last year that I can pull off warm tones, but cool tones are really my wheelhouse. That's where I really thrive. So I picked this up. It's a beautiful palette. The shimmers are gorgeous. I know there's been a little bit of chatter about the AI artwork that the brand has used in the past and in this particular collection. And there are a lot of feelings and opinions on that. I'm not going to go into that in this particular video. That's not anything that I'm taking away from this like at all. That's just me noting that I am aware that, you know, people have feelings about that. But in general, it's a really beautiful palette. It is on the expensive side. I think this palette retailed for $72, and I can't remember if that included shipping or not, but it's very pricey. And the way that I rationalize this purchase is that, you know, I paid that much for Pat McGrath's like holiday collections, her palettes, and she does not have some of the same multi-chrome, duochrome formula. Pat has her own thing going on, but it's a little bit different than what the indie brands are putting out. I can appreciate it's expensive to produce different palettes, that kind of thing. I definitely want to use this one a lot more. The look that I created, I was really happy with it. I got a lot of compliments, and I did do a short, so I'm going to link that below, and hopefully you'll see me use this more. I know it's cold moon winter theme, but I think that there are plenty of opportunities to pull this into some spring looks. But it's a beautiful palette. I just need to use it more. Next, I have the Gothic palette from Cosmic Brushes. This is a purple palette. I did a video recently where I talked about my purple palette collection, and this is one of the newer additions to my purple palette collection. We're going to get to another one in a minute, and I did wear this. Pros of this palette: the color story is very nicely curated. It is very clearly a purple palette, but it's not purple overkill. And you have some variants here to help you ground the look, and you could go in with more deep shades or more light shades, or you could swipe and do like a one and done. My only issue with this, and this is a challenge that I personally have, it is nothing against the palette, is that sometimes with the more emollient formulas, I just tend to get a lot of creasing. So if you have more textured lids, that's just something to be aware of. It's not to knock the brand at all. They are on the more affordable side of indie brands, I would say. So I think for the quality and the price, it's not an issue. I think with this one, I'll just be more aware of the type of primer I use. I might even try to lay down the more shimmery shadows with a glitter glue to see if I have more success with that. It's a beautiful palette, and yeah, I'm glad to have it, and I'm looking forward to playing with this one more. Okay, the next palette I have for you guys, I purchased this at the end of last year. This is Mothership 11. This is Sunlit, Seduction, and it's a very pinky palette. First of all, this palette is gorgeous on. It looks amazing on. I think, like with other people, the main gripe is that it's yet another paint color story. However, it is absolutely gorgeous on the eyes, and you have just, you know, the Pat McGrath formula, which is really, really stunning. I really like the looks that I have come up with. And this one's kind of dummy proof, guys. Like, you don't really have to think too hard about the looks. So it's very easy to use. You have these beautiful special shades here. It's a nice palette, but it is probably, I wouldn't say that it's my favorite Pat McGrath palette, but it's really good. I am glad that I did purchase this on sale, which I would encourage you to do. I think there was a little bit of a price hike with the re-promoted Divine Rose palette in that special packaging. I think it went from $125 because I have the previous special packaging one, and it's like $150 or something like that. And I think I paid closer to $70 something for this palette because I did wait for it to go on sale. So it's a beautiful palette. If you were looking for something that is more wearable in the Pat McGrath line, this is a great choice. Just make sure that you get it on sale. Next up, we have Element 115. This is such a cool palette, and the only reason that it is where it is, guys, is because, again, I haven't had a chance to wear it enough. I am so in awe of creators who can do like 20 palettes a month. I just don't get there, and so that the amount of times that I've worn this has nothing to do with my amount of interest in this palette. I think the color story is gorgeous. The special rainbow shades here classified in TIK TOK are so cool. This palette epitomizes why I have slowed down on palette purchases, because I have these cool things in my collection that I would like to wear, and then new stuff comes out. And it's like that meme where the guy's holding the girlfriend's hand and he's looking back, and the girlfriend who is annoyed is my current palette collection, and I'm the guy looking at the hot girl who is the new palette on the block. Like, I think you guys know which reference I'm talking about. Yeah, this is such a gorgeous palette and I really want to enjoy it. So I love these mattes here. They're super duper cool. I did create a look with this. It's posted on my Instagram. I'm trying to get a little bit more use out of it because I really like the Adept Cosmetics formula, especially their shimmer shades, and the mattes actually blended together really nicely in this palette. So hoping, again, I'm like a broken record, that I get a little bit more use out of this because this is such a cool palette. Next up, we have the Ultraviolet palette, which is a collaboration between deandranicoleee and bellabeautebar. And I was so happy to see this. deandranicoleee, she's such a gem in the beauty community, guys. She does some of the best swatches ever, point blank, period. Not for her skin type, anything. I'm just saying, period. She does beautiful, beautiful swatches, and she does swatches on her deeper skin, her gorgeous deeper skin, and you really get to see how products perform with her swatches because she just does them so well. And I can really appreciate why bellabeautebar wanted to do a collab with her. I think it was a great idea. And so she did this gorgeous Ultraviolet palette, and for me, this is a stronger contender in my purple palette collection than the Gothic palette, which is still really beautiful in its own right. But the shades in here, oh my gosh, they're just next level, guys, and the mattes. And so it's a little bit expanded from the Gothic palette, but rightly so. She did a really great job making sure each shade is unique. I don't think any of the shades in here are too close together. Sometimes that's a problem that you have with monochromatic color stories. You'll look at two shades and they are almost exactly the same. And she did a really nice job avoiding that issue. And I love the look that I was able to do with this palette. There were some singles that also came with this. I think some multi-chrome pigments, and there are some lip glosses. I did get the lip glosses. Those are really, really cool. But overall, it was a really beautiful collection. She did a fantastic job. And I would say this is definitely at the top of the pack when it comes to my purple palettes. Next up, we have the Glamlite and Betty Boop palette. Guys, this is so fun. So pretty. Glamlite has just been doing their thing with the licensed collabs. I have really enjoyed seeing the trajectory of the brand going from food collabs and, you know, just these really fun ideas to getting other companies to say, yeah, we want to work with this brand, because what they do is they produce really lovely, high quality products at an affordable price point. And I really appreciate how Ms. Giselle, who's the owner of the company, has made it a part of her mission to be as inclusive as possible to her customer base. So you will find these products at TJ Maxx and there's no stigma attached to it. I don't know why some brands, they feel like, oh, if you're in TJ Maxx, it's bad. It's like, that means that somebody that otherwise wouldn't have a chance to try a product now has access to that. And everyone should have the opportunity to try whatever kind of makeup that is going to make them feel good. So I really love that she is considerate of that. So she's released a lot of really cool products, but Betty Boop just really resonated with me. It's this very fun pinky red color story, and the reds are a variety of reds. You got some berries, you've got a real true red, you've got kind of a more orangey red, and then you've got these gorgeous shimmers here. And I have used this palette a few times and I've really enjoyed it. I'm really, really glad that I picked this one up. I mentioned in my video about this collection, I don't really do super well with like the spooky, scary packaging. That's just not my MO. I know that's just me, it's totally personal preference. But when she came out with this just resonated with the girly girl in me, and I really like the looks that I have been able to create with this palette. I think we're at number 3, okay? We're at number 3 with this. So we're gonna get into my top 2 picks of January and February. And my mind could change. I don't know, this is really tough. I had a hard time. But number 2 was Flying Fiddles from Adept Cosmetics. It is what I have on my eyes today. And I did film this look that in short form. So I'm gonna be posting a short, a reel, and I think a TikTok. Yeah, I kind of recycle content across platforms. So that will be going up either before or after this video is posted. But I just used 3 shades for this look. And guys, I think this is like a really nice, easy look. I did Tan Toffee Rose in the crease, Sahara on the outer V, and with my finger I took the shade Viola Bronze. And this palette is incredibly versatile. This was Adept's take on neutral, and I think that they did a fantastic job with this palette. I love this shade Green Kelly because sometimes with these kind of teal mattes, they can be patchy. They can be patchy, but I was able to work with this. Of course, I don't just swipe it. I'm tapping and blending and building, but I got a beautiful effect, and it blended really nicely with the other shades that I used, Tan Toffee Rose and Green Kelly in another look. They blended together nicely. The shimmers are absolutely stunning. I do have more swatches up of this palette on my Instagram if you guys are interested, but swatches beautifully, wears beautifully. They did a fabulous job, not to mention this packaging is just very beautiful. It's chic, it's sexy, and yeah, it's a really nice palette, very sophisticated color story. I think they did a fantastic job with this. Number 1, guys, okay, this palette really had my heart from the beginning when I saw them reveal it, but this is the Nomad Cosmetics New Zealand Stargazing palette. And when Nomad released this, or was planning to release it, and they did their initial reveal, I was like, I'm getting that palette. I want to note, very importantly, disclaimer, they did send this to me in PR, but that has no bearing on the ranking because I was going to purchase this regardless, because look at this color story. Look at this color story. It is really, really beautiful. It is the perfect balance of basic and exciting, because you have, of course, my favorite shade, purple here. You have these blues, the pinks. I've come up with some really interesting looks with this palette. It has continued to surprise me. So I initially did a really fun purple look with this palette, which I thought was like a very obvious choice. And then the next look I did was actually all pink, because I just pulled from the pink shades, and it was a very soft, pink, pretty look. And then most recently I did a smoky eye look, and you guys, I love how that look came out because it wasn't just any smoky eye, it was like a multi-chrome smoky eye. I've been thinking about recreating it for a video or tutorial because it was just something different. This palette is so versatile that I do plan to travel with this one. This is not limited edition, so there's no huge rush for you guys to like run out and get the palette. Like, it will be available, I think, at least through the end of the year. But if at some point you do think about adding something to your collection, I feel like this palette has a little bit of something for everyone. It is absolutely beautiful. I think my top 2 choices are indicative of how indie brands are just taking over my heart and my mind in 2024 when it comes to eyeshadow palettes, because they've been doing a fantastic job. So yeah, this is a really gorgeous palette. It's my top choice. Again, it was kind of hard to choose between these 2 guys because these are the 2 that I would argue probably reach for the most. But yeah, I am going to try to keep track because I would like to get to a point where I could do a yearly palette ranking video for you guys, so we could talk about eventually down the road, even though the year's going to zoom by, what was the best of 2024. Anyway, let me know what you guys think of these palettes. I do have codes for some of these. I will make sure to include that in the description box. So if there's anything that you saw that really caught your eye, please make sure to to check first and see if there is a code. It doesn't have to be my code, but if you're gonna go shopping, I like to save a little bit of money personally. So my codes, they save you on these palettes. I think with Nomad and with Adept, I think you can save like 10%, but I will make sure that I have the accurate information for you again in the description box. Let me know which of these was your favorite, or a palette that you think I really need to get in my collection and try out for you guys. I would love to hear from you. I have been trying so hard to resist temptation, but so much good stuff is coming out, don't you think? Anyway, again, thanks for hanging out with me and chatting about makeup. It was so kind of you to decide to click on this video. Please make sure to like this video if you enjoy content like this. Leave me a comment. I love saying hi to you guys and interacting with you. And please consider subscribing to my channel. It would be really awesome to have you join my little corner of the internet where we talk about makeup and chat. We keep it really chill over here. That being said, thank you so much for hanging out today and watching today's video. I really appreciate you. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.